you moving to Washington, D.C. in the near future? In this video, I'm going to show you 5 things to avoid to help make your transition and your move a much smoother one. The market is typically an extremely competitive market. It's not uncommon to have multiple offers. Values have been going up, but we're in 2022 and we're seeing a market shift. There's a little bit less buyers with the higher interest rates. And so it's a great time to buy, but if you're not prepared, you're not gonna be able to take advantage of it. So when I talk about being prepared, get all your ducks in a row. Get talking to a lender, get that pre-approval, start working with an agent. He or she is going to help you figure out what the best place is for you to live and give you the best advice of how to go about getting that property. Also understand what your monthly budget should look like, what you can afford. Like if you're moving to a condo, there's gonna be condo fees. When you look at your mortgage payment, when you're running the calculators, they're not considering the condo fee. That's gonna be in addition to the mortgage payment. You wanna be prepared, you wanna understand all of those kinds of things. That's gonna help you make this transition a super smooth one because that's taking a lot of the heavy lifting already off the bat. Number 2, do your research. When people are moving to DC, I always want them to see what their dollar gets them in different neighborhoods. So I'm always telling them, understand what the price ranges are for different neighborhoods, what a price range looks like for condos in a certain neighborhood as opposed to another one, or a row home as opposed to another one. If they really want to live in a single family home, they need to know what parts of DC have single family homes, or outside of DC, what might be a good neighborhood, what might be a good area for them. On the research side, back to like being prepared, understanding what your monthly budget's gonna look like. So have a good price range, what you can afford. Have a good idea of what neighborhoods are out there. Some neighborhoods are very, very walkable, and that's desirable to some people. Some neighborhoods have a lot of restaurants and bars, and that's really desirable to some people. Some neighborhoods have some of the sporting teams there, and that's desirable to them. And in some neighborhoods have a lot of space. They actually have yards. They actually have single family homes. And so you need to have an understanding of what those are. In addition, it's always good to have an idea where your work is gonna be. Are you gonna be working from home? Or are you gonna be going into an office? If you're going into an office, you wanna understand what your commute is gonna be like. Are you gonna be riding a metro? Are you gonna be driving? How long is it gonna take you? If you're working from home, it's become one of the most popular things here when buying a home is that you want to have an office. If you're only working 1 day a week, maybe the office isn't as important, but working 3 to 5 days a week at home, you might want that dedicated space for your work. The other thing is, I can't comment too much on schools, but you can go to greatschools.org and get some school ratings, because if you're moving to DC, you kind of want to have an understanding of the ratings of the public school systems as well as the private school systems. The number 3 thing I want people to understand when moving to DC is that making changes to some of our properties can be really, really difficult. DC has some really old historic neighborhoods. And with that, making changes to a property can be very, very difficult. It can be frowned upon or even not allowed to make changes such as windows, add another level to create more space. Adding a rooftop deck could be increase the value a ton, which is not bad for a neighborhood. But if it doesn't fit in with the historic district, there's a greater chance it's not going to get approved. So when moving here, if you're somebody who wants to do those kinds of things, you want to know what neighborhoods allow that. And if it's even an option, even if you applied to do that, would it get approved? Number 4 is that DC doesn't have a lot of garages. So what we do is we have zone parking. You need to understand how that works. The neighborhoods all have a different zone. And this is to attempt to keep you close to your property and allow you to park close to your property. Now, some of the neighborhoods are just super busy and parking can still be really difficult, but the zone parking is really out there to help you be as close to your property as possible. Number 5 is that we don't have a ton of storage space. A lot of the row homes are only 2 levels. There aren't a ton of storage space. And one of the things that really gets a lot of the buyers that come from out of town is noticing the closet space. These are some really old buildings, like can be from the 1800s. They just don't have the space for closets. It can drive people batty how to figure out what to do with all their clothes. I've seen people use that third bedroom as almost a closet, but it is something that people figure out, whether they have a plastic storage unit outside or they get an actual storage unit at a facility. People typically get bothered that we just don't have a ton of storage here in DC. We're gonna go with a bonus, number 6 thing you need to know that will help make your transition smoother if you just understand this. Our buildings are often really, really old. Our row homes, 100, 150 years old. What happens on these properties is they shift, right? Over 100 years, the property could shift 1/4 of an inch every 10 years. And I know that sounds crazy, but when you walk into some of these properties, there will be a tilt. You'll be walking up the stairs and you'll be thinking, wow, I am feeling the house is shifting a little bit. And that is not uncommon at all. I've had structural engineers go into some of these row homes and they say, yeah, it's just an old house. It's gonna settle differently and it's gonna settle over time. It'll do the same thing for the next 100 years, the next 200 years. The houses typically are fine. If you're nervous, you just get a structural engineer to take a look at it, let you know if there's anything you need to know. But when you're looking at some of these properties, trust me, you can be going into a $2 million property and be like, I think there's a slant on this house. It'll still sell, it's still desirable. But it's really, really hard when you're coming from the suburbs of Chicago or something into DC to see that. I hope you found this video helpful. If it helped you in any way, please press that like button. And to be notified of new videos coming on, please press that subscribe button.